So right now we can't enter these doors. It would prompt us the Game Pass to purchase the VIP. So if you buy this and we press OK, we should be able to go through now. There we go. Very, very simple. Welcome back, guys, to a new Roblox Studio. Today we're gonna be doing a suggestion someone gave me, and it's basically a Game Pass / VIP door where people with certain Game Passes or certain ranks can access them, right? And so you have to purchase a certain Game Pass in order to access them. For example, if you have like a certain room, and in order to get into that certain room or area, you have to purchase a certain Game Pass. Very simple. Someone suggested me this just recently, so I'm just gonna do it real quick. Pretty simple. So this is just one of my maps, or not really one of my maps. It was a map from an older project someone made, but we're just gonna use this for now. Let's say we have like a room in this map. Probably not the best example of a map, but I'm gonna be using this for this tutorial. So what we want to do is actually first make a Game Pass, right? Let's say you want to make a Game Pass where if you buy a Game Pass, if you buy this Game Pass, you'll have certain perks. For example, having access to certain rooms of the map, right? So in creation dashboard, now this is actually the new website. It is a bit confusing. So what you want to do is, in order to make a Game Pass, you want to go to the game. So in this case, it would be the rap battle game. I think it should be this. Because I did make copies of this, but if you go to associated item and developer products, actually it's not developer products, it's passes. That's a bit different, but you can just make any pass. So let's make whatever. So let's do test, or let's call this VIP, and then blah 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 blah, and then make this pass. Pretty simple. Sure, why this don't work. Let's put like a thumbnail or something. Okay, I guess you need a certain image file type. It's whatever. So let's go on and get the ID of the Game Pass. We want that. Okay, so apparently had to go on my inventory to actually look at it from the website, which is kind of weird. So this is the actual Game Pass from the Roblox website, and yeah, it's the new creator dashboard is all like weird, so it's gonna take some time to get used to. So put it on sale for however much. Let's do 1 Robux. It doesn't really matter if you use Game Pass. You can buy Game Pass in the studio free of charge, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so VIP right here. Copy the asset ID, of course, or the ID of the Game Pass. The Game Pass ID. All right, now let's actually get started with the Game Pass store. Now, what we want to do first, you know what? Yeah, let's make a part. So let's say you have these doors, right? By default, there should be a part that will not allow players go through them. So let's say this is a part. Of course, you want to make it transparent too. So make this transparent. This will be can collide equals true and anchored. You can put it on these two. I guess you can also do that, to be honest. Because sometimes you do want to have more than one VIP door. Sometimes not, but usually that might be needed. So what you want to do is also duplicate this if need be. So just you know, make this thick so people don't glitch inside them, you know. Oops, no. Okay, like that. I should make this a bit should make these visible first. Let's try to actually look at them and see. So this should be all right. So these are the parts for the doors that should block everyone from entering by default. And then what we can do is when a player joins, we can check if the player has a game pass or not. And if the player does have the game pass, we will delete the part from the client side, right, of the player that owns the game pass, and including and also what we can do as well is as soon as the player buys the game pass, we will then delete the part as well, but on the client side, right, not for everyone, only for the player that bought the game pass. So let's set this back to transparency equals 1. We have it anchored and client is true. So now what we can do is group this, or not group them. What we can do is make a folder. This is just for organization. You don't actually have to put them in the folder, but let's do doors or VIP doors. Put them here. Okay, that was not good, but all right. So this should be all right. So right now, let's just test this out. Let's just test this out right here, and we'll see if this works. So right now, as you can see, we can't enter these doors. And what we want to do is, as we don't have a game pass, it should prompt us a game pass. So we will also script that as well. Right now, so for the game pass script, let's make a local script. Okay, let's make a local script and check game pass. And then what we want to do is check if the player has a certain game pass. In this case, it's the game pass that we just made called VIP. The local game pass ID equals, and the game pass ID that we got. All right. So, and local player equal game that player's local player. So that's a local player. So what we can do now is, well, we also need to get marketplace service. All right, so now we want to check if a player owns a game pass. So I think what it is if marketplace user owns game pass async, game pass ID, and then it's user ID, sorry. So it would be, first parameter would be player dot user ID, and then comma game pass ID. Then, so if this would be true, then that means the player owns the game pass, right? So we use these two parameters, player dot user ID, which is a user ID of the local player, and we check that player if the player has this game pass that we're using. In this case, it would be your own game pass, right? So I'm using this game pass as the game pass ID. And so if it is true, then what we can do is delete all the parts in this folder right here. Oh, actually, well, you don't need that, since I told you could add an attribute inside these parts. So what I should do? Let me see. There is also collection service. I've seen people use collection service for this, but it's not actually as necessary. So what we want to do, you know what? We'll keep it like that. So let's call these door 1, door 2, door 3. All right, so local VIP doors equals game.vip doors. Oops, not game.workspace.vip doors. Get children. Then 4i VIP doors. Or actually would be 4i door in pairs. VIP doors do door destroy. All right, seems pretty simple now. What we can do is actually also we can copy this Or actually, let's put this in the beginning, and let's do this again. In this case, what we want to do is, in case the player doesn't have the Game Pass, right? We will prompt the player the VIP Game Pass, so the player can buy the Game Pass, right? So let me see. Let's actually make a variable. So local has Game Pass equals false. Then we set it to true if the player does have the Game Pass, equal true. So if not has Game Pass, then we loop through all the doors, and then we detect when they're touched by the player. Door dot touched connect function, and then we put hit in the parameter. This is whatever hit the door or whatever touched the door. And usually if a player touched it, it would be one of their body parts inside their character. So what we can do is first find if the part that touched the door belongs to a player's character, and we can do this by if let's see, we can do game dot players get player from character hit dot parent. So the parent of a player's body part would be the player's character. So if we can get a character, or if we can get a player from the character, which hopefully is the hit dot parent, which is the body part dot parent, then that means it's a player. So we can then prompt the Game Pass to the player. So we'll do marketplace prompt Game Pass purchase player and Game Pass ID. Now usually definitely want a cooldown for this, because you know, since the player obviously has multiple body parts, it's going to be keep on touching the door, and we don't want to keep on prompting the Game Pass like a million times. So let's do local cooldown equals false. If not cooldown, then wait 1, or actually before the wait, let's do cooldown equals true. Wait 1, cooldown equals false. Let's do a wait 3 seconds, and then the marketplace prompt Game Pass purchase. Let's put this in the middle right here. So at most we would only prompt the Game Pass every 3 seconds. That's what the cooldown does. All right, so far I think it should work perfectly fine now. Let's see. Okay, so we really only need one more thing, but right now, of course, we need to test it first. So let's see how this works. So right now, if you go to one of these doors, oh, apparently it does delete. And that is because I actually own the Game Pass since I made it. So let's actually delete it from our inventory. So at least we know it works. Now let's test if we don't have it. As you can see, we can't enter, and it should prompt us. Okay, it says third-party item sales. That's kind of a settings thing. So as you can see, it's not letting us in. Of course, when you want to, you know, sell Game Passes, you do have to enable third-party sales. So let's go on security and allow third-party sales like that. And I think it should let us prompt players the Game Pass. So let's see right here. It takes a few seconds because it's, yeah, there we go. We got, would you like to buy VIP? Let's buy it. It won't work as soon as we buy it because the script only runs once. So now what we really need is to make it work right after a player buys the Game Pass. It's very simple to do. What I want to do is actually use a server script because we can detect whenever the player has bought a Game Pass. So let's make a script. This is the script, Game Pass. Let's call it Game Pass. All right, I probably already put okay, whatever. I just thought I made a Game Pass script in this game already, but it's whatever. So let's do local marketplace. Game get service marketplace service marketplace dot prompt Game Pass purchase finished. Connect function, and brackets, they're going to be 3 parameters: the player that bought it or the player that finished it. Now prompt Game Pass purchase finished, it only detects whenever a prompt finished, right? It doesn't mean the player has bought it yet. So we need to confirm that the player has actually successfully purchased the Game Pass. Because if you press cancel, this will also fire, and we want to make sure that obviously the player have bought the Game Pass. So Game Pass ID would be the same thing right here. So copy and paste this. And was purchased, so was purchased. So this would have to be true if the player actually purchased the Game Pass. So if was purchased, and let me see, Game Pass ID. Oops, no. So this is what's passed down. So let's call this ID. And ID equals Game Pass ID. Then what we can do is we can fire a remote event. I think that's the only way we can do it. Yeah, let's fire a remote event. So let's make a remote event. I actually have a remotes folder, but let's say you don't have all of this. This is just all pre-scripted stuff, so let's ignore all of this. Let's make a new remote event, call this bot Game Pass, and let's do game.replicated storage dot bot Game Pass by client player. Now what we can do is, now we already know that bought Game Pass just means you bought the VIP Game Pass. So when you buy the VIP Game Pass, we delete all the doors. Now it might be a bit complicated for you guys because maybe you have more than just one Game Pass. You can just call this buy VIP or something. Bought VIP. Let's call it buy bought VIP. Bought VIP. Copy and paste this like that. And back to our local script, we can then get this remote event. So game that replicated storage dot bot VIP, or let's do wait for child bot VIP, and then on client event connect function, and then we can do the same thing we did here. So 4i door in pairs like that. Door destroy. So let's test this out. All right, so right now we can't enter these doors. It would prompt us the Game Pass to purchase the VIP. So if you buy this and we press OK, we should be able to go through now. There we go. Very, very simple. There's nothing much to it. So that's how you can do this tutorial, VIP Game Pass store. Now, one more thing also, if you want to use a group, and let's say you want a certain rank to go inside, a certain room or through the doors, very, very simple. Get your group ID. So in this case, let's go to our group. Get your group ID, and then you can use the get rank in group function to get the rank in the group. For example, if I want a door that only allows me to go in, so let's say well, we're gonna find the rank. You're gonna find the rank in your, like, when you press configure group, you're gonna find your rank. So like 255 would be, or 256 would be the highest rank, would be the owner, and like 254 would be like the admins, etc, etc. So you would know what a rank is, like the rank number, right? So let's say we use this group, and we go on here. Let's use this. So local group equals this. And what we can do, instead of if marketplace user own Game Pass is sync, what we can do is if player get rank in group, and then group, this is our group ID, Then this would be passed. This statement would be passed. And, or actually, no, sorry. This is just returns a rank, sorry. So you have to set it to something. So what's your minimum? So let's say your minimum rank is 255, which would be the owner. So if it's equal or greater to 255, then has Gamepass equals true, or door in pairs, and then it deletes all the doors. Same thing. Actually, well, if you just want it to be ranks, then you can obviously remove this. You don't need this. If you don't want to use game passes, of course. Same thing here. I guess if you just want to use group ranks, then obviously you just need that. Otherwise, if you want on Game Pass, you can do that, or both. Why not? So you can do if or has pass or whatever I use. Like you can use both. So you can do like or player get rank in groups is greater than equal to 255. So what I can do, I can test this out. I think 255 is the owner rank. Even though I didn't buy the Game Pass, I can still go through because I am the owner of the group. So yeah, it's pretty simple. You can actually use these. These are mostly used like in cafe, roleplay games, stuff like that. SCP, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a suggested video. If you want more videos and if you want to give me suggestions, please leave it down in the comments. Leave it down in my Discord server. I might make a video on it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one.